Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Gurudev. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajigacharya Astotar Satashishimad Abhaya Naravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajigacharya Astotar Satashishimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Kuti Vaishnava Vinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vinda Ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai. Brajabhumi Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Nilachal Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Jamuna Mai Ki. Bhakti Devi Tulsi Maharani Ki. Samaveta Bhakta Vinda Ki Jai. Yugadama Sharanam Sankirtanya Ki. Transcendental Hare Krishna Mahamantra Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Shri Prabhupada. Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. It's wonderful to be back at the lotus feet of Shri Gauradesh. My name is Bhakti Sarvajna Gauranga Swami. I'm from Johannesburg, South Africa. Thank you. I'm a disciple of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami. And I am feeling fortunate to spend some time here at Gauradesh. We will be discussing over the next 3 evenings about principles of success in bhakti. By show of hands, who is interested in success in bhakti? Okay, I don't know at home if you're raising your hands. If you're not, Krishna can see. Talking to those who are online. If Krishna doesn't see you raising your hand, then maybe he will think you're not interested. So, success, the word is loaded in this material world because every individual being has their own ideas of what success is, what success will look like for their lives, because everyone has their own desires. In Krishna consciousness, Srila Prabhupada sometimes said that for us, there is no question of success or failure. So that would mean that our seminar has no value. Talking about principles of success, and Prabhupada says there's no difference between success and failure in Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada there is revealing the platform of Nehabikrama nasosti pratyavaya navidyate salpamasya dharmasya trayate mahato bharat. In Bhagavad Gita 2:40, Lord Krishna is saying to Arjuna how in this endeavor of Krishna consciousness, bhakti, which we're involved in, there is no loss or diminution. That whatever activity has been performed in Krishna consciousness is gain for the living entity. And it protects one from the greatest fear, which in the purport Srila Prabhupada says the greatest fear is to lose the human form of life. So in that sense, that what we may consider success or failure in trying to serve Krishna is always a win for the devotee, because spiritual activity is never lost. Whereas material activity, you can do everything correct and get the so-called success or the wins, but ultimately it is temporary, therefore unreal, because it's connected to this body. When the body dies, what happens to our millions of euros? I haven't seen anyone being buried with their house or even a microwave. Nobody takes. Guru Nanak of the Jains once met a very rich man. He was walking past and he saw this home with many flags flying. So he was curious, why are there so many flags by this man's home? Someone said, well, every time he makes like 1,000 gold coins, he puts up a flag. So many flags were there, that meant he had so much gold. So being merciful, he went in and he spoke to the man, and he asked the man before leaving that, I have this one pin, could you bring it to me in the next life? So this man was a bit flabbergasted. What do you mean? How am I supposed to bring this pin to the next life? And how am I even going to find you in the next life? So Guru Nanak said, well, I thought that you had so many gold coins, so much money, and you don't have time for spiritual life. So what will happen to all your gold coins? Shishi Gauranitai ki jai. Is there a special name for Gauranitai?
Vijay Gauranga Doyanitai.
Vijay Gauranga Gauranitai ki jai. And in this way, the man got back his sense that I cannot bring this one pin for this saintly person. Then what is the value of wasting my human life in accumulating so many gold coins? He could understand that the standard of success would be do some activities that give you a result that death cannot take away. So Krishna consciousness is that activity where whatever is done for the pleasure of Krishna yields an eternal benefit. So our theme for day one, since we're dealing with the principles of success, is the foundation of spiritual life. That is approaching the lotus feet of a spiritual master and surrendering. Srila Rupa Goswami has said, that the beginning of spiritual life is Ado Gurvashrayam. And then once one has approached the lotus feet of Guru, then he must inquire about Dharma. One must ask questions there. So we will examine using stories how the principle of surrendering to Guru, approaching a Guru, following the instructions of Guru is the basis of success. And before getting into it, I wanted to point out that when it comes to success in spiritual life, we should note that first of all, we are not living in just one lifetime. The soul is eternal, and therefore we're in a multi-lifetime journey. And for spiritual life, it's not a sprint, but it is like a marathon. So a sprint, you've seen in the Olympics, they tend to live the 100 meters as the highlight of the games. Because if you blink, you may miss it. It's about 10 seconds worth, 10, 11 seconds. That's how the fastest men run 100 meters. Now, if Krishna consciousness and reaching the topmost success was like that, well, wouldn't it be great? There would be no one left in the temple because everyone would have attained the goal. So first, also we have to understand what is the ultimate goal of Krishna consciousness. Maybe I can ask some of you.
Ultimate goal?
Yes, not you, Prabhu. I'll come back to you just now. I want to check. I see some faces that don't look very regular. I'll start with you at the back.
I'll say to serve.
The goal, yes, ultimate goal to serve. To serve who or what?
Humanity.
To serve humanity.
We should never forget why we came here. So that's our goal.
The goal is to never forget why we came here.
And who sent us.
So then, yes.
Then just keep serving him whole life, and that's the ultimate goal.
So who sent us?
Krishna.
Okay, that's more clear. So never forget Krishna and serve him. Yes? Mataji? To serve and love God is the ultimate goal of life. Prabhu? Yes, Shastrik man, Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam. So it is mentioned in the Bhagavatam about what is the topmost devotional service. So it is mentioned, Anya Bilashita Shunyam Jnana Kamana Anavritam Anukulyena Krishnanu Shiranam Bhakti Uttama. So Bhakti Uttama. Uttama means the highest form of bhakti is to serve the transcendent Lord with no motive for personal gain, with no mixture of philosophical speculation, with no mixture of fruitive results, meaning what's in it for me, what can I get? So, do you think that sounds easy to do? Because in life, when we do something, we're always thinking, what's in it for me? Or at least, what will I gain out of this? Just like you came today for this class, I don't think any of you were considering, let me just go suffer in that class. There's some hope of getting something. So now, to serve Krishna without any selfish motivation. Not that, Krishna, I'm serving you because I want which is normal when we approach. Krishna says 4 kinds of people approach him. Those who are suffering, yes, distressed, greedy, yes, for something. What is it? Who want money. Those who are curious. One last one. Those who are looking for knowledge of the Absolute. So Krishna says 4 kinds of people come to him. And those he considers Sukritin. Sukritina means they are pious. They are coming to me. I have problems and therefore I go to God. Please solve my problems. I have specific problems, monetary. I need money. I've heard that Krishna owns everything. So maybe if I chant his name a little bit, he will give me a few euros. What will it cost him? Or one is curious. I want to know what the Catholics do in their big church, what the Muslims are doing in their mosque, what the Jews are doing in their synagogue, what the Hare Krishnas are doing in their temple, so one may come. But Krishna is saying these first 3, if the distress goes away, then I may just walk away, problem solved. If I get the money, I've solved my problem, and the money can even get me into new problems. Those who are curious, once they satisfy their curiosity, can walk away. But those who are desiring knowledge of Krishna, then knowledge of Krishna is unlimited and endless. If you continue looking for knowledge of Krishna, then you will stay with Krishna because he is Navayovanam cha. He's ever fresh, not only in being youthful, but also in presenting newer and newer aspects of himself. So, multi-lifetimes means that somehow or the other we have to build up nice and gradual. Still, not so gradual that we don't move. So Krishna consciousness gives us the opportunity to shoot, to go very fast. Prabhupada gives, if you have to go up a tall building, so you have 2 options. You have the stairs, and then you have the lift. So both people can reach the top of the building, but of course one will reach there very tired. And there's a chance that somewhere going up, they may just give up. It's too much to go upstairs, the knees are paining. But one who's on the lift, without much effort, you simply press a button and then the lift pulls you up. So to come to this unmotivated, uninterrupted, simply to please Krishna, quality of devotional service requires some help. Just like the lift is like great help. Electricity is there, hydraulics are there, it pulls you up. Therefore, our discussion on understanding Guru, beginning with approaching Guru, understanding why to approach Guru, and also examining who becomes successful and who doesn't based on the approach of spiritual master becomes important. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, you are aware of who he is? So he is the guru of Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So if you're at home, we are also dealing with sort of new karma. So some things we'll have to explain to them also. So he was asked that you are such a potent guru. He was called Lion Guru. Where have you gotten all this empowerment? Some said, well, he took a vow to chant 1 billion names of Krishna, which took him like 12, 13 years or something. And so he was such a potent person. But in his response, he said, whatever empowerment you see in me is directly coming from my spiritual master, Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji. The man was bewildered. This Gauradesh Babaji Maharaj was like illiterate. Never saw him read any books. He was also a recluse. So how is this possible? So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta said, you may see the battery in the car. It's just sitting there. You don't see it do anything. But without the battery, that whole engine will not function. That whole car is drawing its power from that battery. So my Guru Maharaj, you may see him wandering around Navadvip thinking, what is he doing? But actually, because I am connecting to his mercy, then something is happening. So we are learning from our acharyas that one requires the mercy and the empowerment of the spiritual master. Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita establishes this point. Those who are doing Bhakti Shastri, you may know the verse, chapter 4, verse 34. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadashina. That Krishna is advising that one should approach a bona fide spiritual master. And when approaching, one must do what? Render service.
And ask the questions.
Then ask the questions. And then the result will be?
Because he knows it. He knows the truth.
And then he will give you the truth. So, first, the service that is performed, it is like the key that opens the door to the heart of Shri Guru. Many people may approach spiritual master, but they may approach spiritual master to find out, should I move to Dusseldorf or move to Paris? Or should I start a business in IT or should I do it in pharmaceuticals? So they've approached the right person, but they are approaching with the wrong inquiry. So one must understand what the spiritual master is offering, meaning the science of God consciousness, the spiritual science. So there's a mood there which is most important, that one must have submissive inquiries. And submission, rendering of service, then that qualifies one to receive the knowledge. Because you may approach spiritual master, but if you ask the wrong questions, then you're not getting the proper result. Or if you ask the right questions, spiritual questions, but you already have your own answers. You know that situation where I know what I want, but then I want some devotee, senior, a guru to just confirm what I've decided. If he doesn't say what I want him to say, then I think, well, he's not really so powerful. He couldn't read my mind. Then I have to go ask someone else. Because I'm basically using the guru to endorse my own conviction, my own decision. So it means there is no submissiveness. Now, in the example of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj did not want any disciples. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the father of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, suggested and insisted to his son that Babaji Maharaj would be the right person for you. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who accepted his own father also as his well-wisher and guru, he understood, yes, I must approach. But Babaji Maharaj, he said, well, I have to speak to Gauranitai about this. You come back another day and I'll tell you what they say. So every time he came back to ask him for a shelter, he would laugh. Sorry, I forgot to ask Gauranitai. You come back again. In this way, others would see he was qualified, Bhaktisiddhanta. This title of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was given for his astrological expertise. He was so brilliant in Jyotish that he was conferred a title of Saraswati. He was so learned in the scriptures. And Babaji Maharaj, on the other hand, would be seen almost like as an illiterate. So you would think someone so erudite as Bhaktisiddhanta would not be interested in someone not obviously a scholar. But because he had the submissive spirit, the humble spirit of a Vaishnava, then he was able to understand from his own father and understand the qualities of Babaji Maharaj that he continuously approached until he received the mercy. So this is a prerequisite if we are to be successful in bhakti, to connect to the disciplic succession. Lord Krishna in the Gita is re-establishing the disciplic succession through Arjuna. What does he say? Evam parampara praptam imam rajasayo vidu sakaleneha mahata yogo nasta parantapa. That I'm giving this knowledge which was given to the saintly kings, giving it to you, Arjuna, because in course of time, the disciplic succession has been broken, and therefore he's establishing the chain by giving Arjuna this knowledge. And therefore, we are to receive the same knowledge of Krishna as Arjuna did, meaning once heard from the bona fide spiritual master, as Arjuna heard from Krishna, then Savadharmam parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. Arjuna surrendered to Krishna. Then he said, Nastamoa smriti labda. My illusion is gone, my intelligence is restored. Karishte vachanam tava. Now I'm ready to do whatever you ask me, Krishna. So we can assess in our own lives, those who have spiritual master, those who are desiring to have a spiritual master, how much of our consciousness is in, now I am ready to do as you ask. Arjuna was bewildered. He didn't know what to do. He tried to have his arguments, and ultimately he surrendered to Krishna. Sishyasteham sadimam tvam prapanam. Now I'm a soul surrendered unto you, Krishna. You please instruct me. So this level of surrender, submission, enables us to get the right type of charge, the right type of empowerment. Because the disciple is meant to surrender to one who is also a surrendered disciple of his guru. so that the current flowing from Krishna, the original Guru, the knowledge coming from Krishna, the reservoir of all wisdom, can be able to flow through us, and we can become instruments of the Supreme Lord. Srila Prabhupada gives the example of an electric wire, that when the electric wire has become rusty, then the electric current becomes obstructed and it doesn't flow through powerfully. Until that rust is removed, then the conductivity of that wire is curtailed. So within our hearts, then there's also this rust in the form of lust. What's the friend of lust? Greed, anger, illusion, envy, madness. So these are the main six anattas that are there. Of course, there's many layers of them. So these are like the rust that is covering the heart from being a proper channel of the mercy of Guru and Krishna. So success will mean that we also understand the process of cleaning. So this is tomorrow, we'll discuss the processes. So today, let's look at what it means to approach Guru for the right motive. We have an example from the Mahabharata. You've heard of Ekalavya. So Ekalavya was what is known as a low-born. He had a desire to learn archery, the art of fighting properly with arrows. So he approached Dronacharya, that Dronacharya, you're the guru of the Pandavas, you are so powerful and teacher, I want to be your disciple and learn Dhanuveda from you, the art of shooting arrows. And Dronacharya said, no, I'm not willing to accept you as a disciple. So, okay, Ekalavya was disheartened. Guru doesn't want to accept him. But what did he do? Then he went back to the forest and he made a deity out of clay and straw of Dronacharya. And every day he worshipped Guru. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma. And after that, he started his practicing of shooting arrows. One day, when Arjuna and some of the Pandavas were going in the forest, they came across an incredible scene. A dog had been shot with arrows. Someone shot 7 arrows and closed the mouth of the dog. When they saw this, they were like amazed. They could understand only a powerful archer could do such a thing. And then they went to tell their guru. They want to understand, Gurudev, who or what student of yours has become so powerful he can do this? We cannot do this. So Arjuna took this because Arjuna was such a serious student of archery. He's got the name Gudakesh. one who defeated sleep. That Arjuna sometimes, the Pandavas would wake up, they would find him in the night, he's still practicing shooting arrows. This is his dedication. So all the gurus really hope that we could be such disciples who are so dedicated to the practice of Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada said, if I make one pure devotee, I'll consider my mission successful. So here was Ekalavya. Dronacharya said, I have no such disciple who could use also such skill to do this to a dog. And so Dronacharya, because Guru is empowered in different ways. Some gurus are Trikalagya, they can see past, present, and future. Some gurus can pick up the mood of the disciple just upon seeing them. So they were learned in many shastras, including physiognomy, meaning just by seeing the physical features of a person, they could tell about that person. So Dronacharya was interested. He went with Arjuna to the forest, and they were looking for this person. And as they walked, they were hearing just hissing arrows. Someone firing arrows like the rain, said they were. They saw Ekalavya practicing shooting his arrows. And when he saw Dronacharya, he stopped his shooting. He went running, offering obeisances. Gurudev. They asked him, whose disciple are you? He said, I'm your disciple, Ekalavya. Dronacharya said, but I never accepted you. And he said, no, I've been worshipping you here and training. I've become quite accomplished. So Dronacharya said, okay, then if you're my disciple, you never gave me any Guru Dakshina. Guru Dakshina at the initiation, one collects some donations to give to the Guru in reciprocation of becoming initiated. So this is mandatory to collect Dakshina and to give Guru. So you never gave any Dakshina, any donation. What do you want, Gurudev? Dronacharya said, you cut your right thumb and you give it to me. And Ekalavya, without hesitation, chopped off his thumb. Wow. Others who looked on were very impressed. He's really so surrendered. By chopping off his right thumb, Dronacharya was ending his prowess in archery. So the question and debate as to what was the defect of Ekalavya, that Dronacharya was not impressed with him, that he got him to cut his thumb off. So we understand from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who analyzes this situation. So, first point, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, Ekalavya, he disobeyed the order or the desire of Dronacharya. The Dronacharya did not accept him, but he disregarded that. Or he doesn't want to accept me as a disciple, I will accept him as a guru. It's something like, you want to marry somebody. They say, no, Prabhuji, I don't want to marry you. And then you decide, no, I will make a deity of the lady. And somehow or the other, you perform some marriage ceremony. Everyone's laughing. It's something's not right in that arrangement. But someone say, no, this is my wife here every day. I bathe her and I dress her and I cook for her. Someone who may come there may say, oh, this man's so dedicated to his wife. So first of all, he's not accepted. He decides to privately accept the guru, makes a deity. Number two, he is creating way for impersonalism in the world. That the instruction is to approach a living Mahant, a living guru, and to inquire submissively and render service to that guru. But now, if Ekalavya is having his own lifeless clay guru who cannot chastise him or correct him, and if others will understand he became successful, look, he became such a powerful archer, then maybe we don't need any living guru. We can just make our own deities and worship. So Arjuna is sometimes accused by other commentators that he was envious of Ekalavya, that he's become so powerful, and therefore he evoked Dronacharya to go and cut him down. But in fact, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, it is the compassion of Arjuna for all living beings and for Ekalavya that he had to bring this to the right authority. So Arjuna is Vaishnav. Now the materialistic mentality is that to become bigger and better than everyone else, this is encouraged, right? We have to succeed, be number one, get rich or die trying. Just go for it. But the Vaishnava situation is that in Bhakti, one has to use his effort to become subordinate to a Vaishnava. One has to put energy in the attempt to take shelter of a Vaishnava, to take shelter of Guru, not to establish oneself as Lord and Master and in charge. So it's two worlds. So in this case, Ekalavya had the desire to get something that the Vaishnava could not give. This is his analysis. He saw Arjuna and all his disciples' prowess, and he wanted to be better than them. He was rejected as a disciple. He decided to do it on his own, to establish himself, to become the best. So already that is not the Vaishnava principle of trying to be the best, but one has to try to be the servant, try to take shelter of the Vaishnava. And so, because of this, his approach of Guru and his austerities and supposed success in learning archery is not accepted as devotion. Because if it was about personal austerities, then the demons, they are very austere. They perform so much tapasya. Look at Hiranyakashipu. He performed heavy tapasya. And then he seemingly got the mercy that he could ask for benedictions from Brahmaji. We look at Vrikasura. Vrikasura performed austerity. He was chopping pieces of his own flesh, throwing into the fire. First of all, such austerity in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, when it's too heavy, it's causing pain even to the super soul, which is an interesting concept. He was so motivated, and selfishly so, that when he saw that there is no Shiva coming, they said he's Ashutosh, he's easily pleased, where is he? He decided just to force his hand, now I will chop my own head off. Such a disciple. So when he was ready to cut his own head off, of course, Lord Shiva appeared. Hey, Baba, hold it. Why such heavy austerity? What do you want, actually? Now, without the heart being purified, one who performs such austerities and wants to gain power becomes dangerous to himself and others. In the case of Vrikasura, then Lord Shiva was there with Parvati, and he's looking at Parvati and he's thinking, oh, this is really beautiful lady. She would be most suited to be my wife. And he had asked from Shiva, the benediction I want is that whoever's head I touch, his head will burst into pieces. He was ready to kill himself for what? Just to be able to kill anyone he touches by his hand. So the demons, and not just demons far, we should bring it closer to home. Within our own hearts, there are these demonic qualities coming out from lust, greed, envy, illusion, madness. That if we approach with the motive of fulfilling our personal desires, which are coated with all these demoniac tendencies, this is dangerous for us and for everyone. Vrikasura, he wanted to use that benediction that Shiva gave to kill Lord Shiva and to take his wife. So Srila Prabhupada warns that Guru is not to be accepted as a fashion. Oh, everyone here is a guru. Maybe I should get me a guru. Just like everyone's got a nice poodle, so I must get myself a dog also, as a fashion. And guru is not to be accepted as just a means to an end. I have some desires I want to fulfill. I think he's powerful guru. If I connect to him, then I'll be able to fulfill my desires. Which is what also the impersonalists do. How? Srila Prabhupada gives the example of a ladder. That now you need to climb to the roof, you get a nice ladder, you put it up and you climb the ladder. As soon as you get onto the roof, then you look at the ladder, useless, you kick it. So, not to deal in that way. Now, in the case of Ekalavya, we are seeing that Dronacharya could understand this. That he wants to establish himself, and when he gets the skill from me, and then he starts to misbehave with it, how does it work? We know it also in our own movement. If I misbehave, okay, now maybe as a sannyasi, it's a not so big fish, but big enough fish to fry. But let's say any newly initiated devotee, if they make some mistake, do something wrong, devotees will say, whose disciple is this? And when they report the scandal, they say the disciple of so-and-so did this and that. They hardly blame the person, but they pin it on the guru. Therefore, the discerning guru also has to test the disciple. So in the case of Ekalavya, he didn't fit the bill. And later on, he got the mercy by being killed by Lord Krishna. You see, later on, he sided with Shishupal when Lord Krishna came and kidnapped or took Rukmini at her request. And Shishupal and the kings were trying to get Rukmini back, trying to fight Krishna. And Ekalavya joined in, and Krishna finished him off. So again, he got the mercy from the original Guru, Lord Krishna. If you're killed by Krishna, you still are benefited. So in one sense, we're encouraging, one must approach. One must have the proper attitude in approaching. One must have the spirit of rendering service. And for a disciple, for a Vaishnava to be successful in Krishna consciousness, then the principles laid out by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, beginning with Chinada pi Sunichena, Tarora pi Sahisnuna Amanina Manadena. Then they'll bring us to Kirtanya Sadahari, which is part of the goal of life. So, to become humble, that means we are coming in with the mood to take shelter at the lotus feet of Guru, to submissively inquire and to render service, and to then naturally get the mercy of the spiritual master, because the devotee is only suffering is to see that the conditioned souls are suffering. Therefore, he is known as Paradukha Dukhi. The mercy is already there. Krishna wants to give. And his pure devotees, they are living simply to give that mercy. So, in summary, Srila Rupa Goswami is saying, Ado Guru Vashrayam, or Guru Padashraya, one must begin by seeking out the lotus feet of the spiritual master. And one must inquire about the principles of Dharma. What am I to do? Arjuna demonstrated that to Krishna, that Krishna, I can find no one to remove this grief that has befallen me, no one but you. So you tell me unequivocally, what is my duty? And so we can assess ourselves, are we in that mood where we are ready to do the bidding of the spiritual master? We're ready to give ourselves to that mission. Srila Prabhupada demonstrated that when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur told that he was so disappointed. He opened a big temple in Calcutta, nice big marble temple, but disciples were fighting about which room they will occupy in that big temple. Sounds familiar? Sometimes we are here in the ashram of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and we are fighting about facilities. Yes, I must be commander, I must be president, I must have that room, I must have that office. Anyway, he was disappointed. He said, I'd rather strip the temple of all that marble, sell it, and get a printing press and print books. And therefore, he said, if you ever get money, you please print books and you preach this Krishna consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada thought, let me do business and make money, and then I can fulfill the order of my guru. But somehow or the other, that did not work. But he says he never forgot the instruction of his Guru Maharaj, and he never stopped trying to fulfill it. That is why even in his old age, he was ready to leave Vrindavan and to go to America with just 40 rupees. Because he says also he was inspired in the purport of 241 by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in that verse where he explains Ekeha Kurunandana, that one must have Vyavasatmika Buddhi, intelligence that is one-pointed, not Bahusaka Ayanantascha, intelligence that's many-branched, that one should mold one's life according to the instructions of the spiritual master. So that gave him great confidence that let my life be a testament of the instructions I've received from my spiritual master. So it is challenge number one, and it is the foundation of success in Krishna consciousness, to take shelter of the lotus feet of a spiritual master, to accept the instructions, and to take the service of the mission of Guru as one's life and soul. In that way, getting the right blessings. Unlike Ekalavya, who did not go about it the right way, although he seemed to be getting the results in his own way. Right? We may see ourselves, no, I'm still okay. I'm in Bhakti. I have now my position. Now I'm senior. Now I have my stick. So many things we may think we are achieving externally. But if the heart and the motive is not simply to align with Guru's desire, then time will prove us wrong in that so-called success. So at this point, we'll just invite some comments or any questions, if you have any. Yes. Oh no, it's very good English. We are all not from the British Isles, so English is not our first language, so don't worry. Go for it.
First question is, someone can say, okay, I just get Guru and everything will be okay. So then it can be like thinking, I don't need to do something else, just to, to serve lotus feet, and then maybe it's too easy, or they say it's make one just depending on Guru in a way they will get lazy. So they just like, oh, Guru just get me out. I don't need to do something. How you can answer on such questions?
Yes.
For such people?
And this will also be part of our third day discussion. What completes the success, especially uniquely to our Sampradaya and Prabhupada's mission. But to your question, we can say that accepting a teacher is just the beginning. Just like you are registering at a school. So many people come and register at university. I was one of those students. We registered and we paid, but then certain classes we're not attending. We're going to just hang out in the college and then do other things. So you can accept the spiritual master superficially, but to accept the spiritual master means to execute the instructions. So some people do think like that I just need to be connected to some saintly person, and just by that connection, then magic will happen. It is possible, but it is just like it is possible for people to get an honorary degree. But generally, this honorary degree also doesn't just come. You must have done something that distinguishes you such that the university wants to be associated with you to give you some degree. So yes, there is liberation or by kripa. You can get some special mercy. But it is so rare that the standard method is that one has to then perform the process of bhakti under the guidance of the spiritual master, which is some aspects which we will discuss tomorrow about the process of success. So yes, we tell that person, no, it's not enough. It's not enough. It is like an initiation, right? There are some devotees that are carrying the mridanga. And then Gurudev says, and your new name is Bhimadas. And everyone claps. Now we have the name. Haribo, Haribo. But one who's not so aware is celebrating the new name, but not understanding in the name is so-and-so das and so-and-so dasi. And that das or dasi is not child's play. That is the real mission, to become a servant. To become a servant of the servant of the servant. So yes, accepting Guru, nice, you've signed up. But you've signed up to some training, how to become the servant of the servant of the servants of Lord Krishna. So it's not enough.
So we can say it will be work to stay in this connection, just to be. And about the second question,
Yes. What did you?
Thank you very much
I guess.
for this possibility to listen to your words. Very necessary. My question may be not so humble, but I'd like to ask it. Because very often it is said we should give everything. I am distributing books somehow, that is the task of my gurus. Yes, and one of our senior devotees, I told him, well, I'm so tired, I can't. Sometimes it happens, not now. I can. I asked him, and he said, we should give everything as well. From Bhagavad Gita we know we should give thinking, willing, and feeling. From Srimad Bhagavatam is going on. And Lord Chaitanya said, Sarvajna Swami said, I don't know who I am. Yes, and he said to his disciples to do favorable things and not to do unfavorable things. So my question, what it means everything? So on the level I can understand.
Yes. So the question is, you are doing Sankirtan and you're doing, this is for the sake of those who can hear. And sometimes devotee can't go out. Inquiry was made to senior devotee. Mataji got advice that she must give everything. And what about favorable service? We hear that also we have to be devotional service is susukam katuma vyayam, joyfully performed. And so what does it mean, this to give everything? So we can look at it in two ways. To give everything also has to match one's adhika, qualification, suitability. If we are not sufficiently qualified to do an activity, and if we try to do it nonetheless, then instead of getting the proper result, we get something else, burnout, frustration. So in one sense, qualification doesn't just mean spiritual purity, but it can also mean health of body. It may mean sufficient time, balance in what one needs in life. So we would say that for a healthy spiritual practice, then a devotee has to be engaged in three ways. One has to be engaged in a service where you're completely excited to do. This is just what you are attracted to, suits your nature. One also has to have a service where one is in the stretch zone. You are uncomfortable with this and you are trying your best to get to do it. So it challenges you, it stretches you. And in that stretch zone, you may discover Krishna's mercy, you may discover some abilities within you that you didn't know. And therefore, growth can happen. In the third way, then there are services that are called needful. You are in a temple or in the home, some things just need to be done. We need someone alive who can do it. And so then, okay, we can try to plug that hole. But if a devotee is only doing the needful, that's also no juice, it's frustrating, can break them. If a devotee is only doing things that are just exciting and natural to them, then there is no big challenge. You can do it in your sleep, this service. You just know it, you like it, finish. And so like that, there's what's exciting, what's natural, what's needed, and what's challenging you. If there's a balance, one has these three types of services, then devotee grows and can. But if there's imbalance, it's just you're pushing, give everything here, it may just frustrate and break a devotee. It's okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Isn't it somehow when you're really humble and then it might be that you think I cannot do any service, I'm not qualified. I cannot do this because I'm so unqualified. So isn't this also, can it be that this is also obstructive?
Yes. So sometimes the devotee feels, oh, I'm so humble, I cannot do this service.
No, this is not, this is really humbleness, you know?
Yes, we're going to analyze if it's really humbleness. Because one who thinks is really humble is not really humble.
It's not really humble.
Yeah, one who's really humble doesn't believe that they're humble. We can say if someone expresses humility, oh, I cannot do this, I'm not qualified, and then someone can say, no, you can do it. So the devotee is willing to do service. Look at devotees like Kaviraj Goswami of Chaitanya Charitamrita. You know, he expresses that I'm more fallen than the worm in stool. If someone sees me, then they should immediately take a bath in the Ganga. But still, when Lord Nityananda wants that he expressed the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, although he feels himself unqualified, but because it's the desire of a superior that he renders this service, he performs. So, and then there's a distinction of one, if it's a technical service, that I am not qualified to it. Like sometimes, you know, as a sannyasi, sometimes people want to ask you any types of question, as if all of a sudden you are like professional marriage counselor, or you're a professional, like what are the best schools to put the kids in, or different things. So being truthful about not having a skill to do something this is one thing. I cannot do this because I cannot cook. And then I won't say being humble, and then someone asks me to cook, and then I cook without knowing, then it's a disservice. So a balance has to be there. Therefore, devotional service is performed under the able guidance of a spiritual master or a senior. Someone should be able to assess. And when there's a well-wisher and a senior who's qualified, then they can also see, or maybe they're just being humble. And then they'll encourage the devotee, give him some confidence to execute certain service. But if one is unwilling to do something under the umbrella of, this is my humility, the humility will be like, show me, teach me. If I cannot do it, we're ready to. And in humility, we can simply repeat what we've heard. Then one doesn't claim that I am the doer, but one is depending on the empowerment of the Lord. By your mercy, Ramananda Rai is saying, you are the reservoir of all knowledge. And whatever I am saying is, you are saying it through me. Like this. Was Prabhupada, I'm the most fallen. Prabhupada, you're the most nothing. You're not the most anything. Yes. Just in closing, more communication is needed between devotees, whether disciple and guru, that when the heart opens, Kuyam Akyati Prichati, one speaks what is in the heart, inquires submissively, and communicates, then relationships blossom when there's enough communication, honest communication. And so Arjuna communicated. Now I'm bewildered. I don't know what I should do, Krishna. You tell me. And then by saying that, then he was ready to accept what Krishna is saying. So that will be our humility. We don't know really what's to be done. We're not so qualified. And we are trying to endeavor to take shelter and to depend on the Vaishnavas. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Srila Prabhupada ki. Gaura Premanande. Vanchakalpa Tarvyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavinebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnavendra ki.